So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple demo reports, a standard out-of-box filter, and I'll create a small custom filter as well. So first I'll just go ahead and make a pie chart. We're going to want table, and we're just going to do it on the problem table. Then we can select pie chart. That's better. And then I'll just do created in this last year. All right, then we can go ahead and save that report. Then I'll also make another report for list for that same table. And I'll just do all for this. And I don't want it to group by anything. Then I'll just hit insert and stay. Then we can go ahead and create some interactive filters. So you just go to the interactive filter table and create new. We can do a reference. We can say I only want a single input. We want the reference table, so I'm going to do business services. We're going to hit save. And then if you go down to the related list, you can select which table you want it to apply to in that field to apply to. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to create a custom filter. So for that, we're going to have to create a dynamic content block. So you have some jelly tags in here. You can use jelly. You don't necessarily need to use jelly. So for this example, I'm actually not even going to really use any jelly at all. So for what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a simple filter with 2 buttons to show how the filtering could work. So variable filter, then we're going to create a new dashboard message handler. And then this is where you'd give it a unique name. And I'll close the script tag. And then we can just make some simple input buttons.
First script is missing a T.
Ah, thank you. I'm gonna make this a button. And then on click, we'll have it be that remove function. So and then we'll do another input for just showing the ones that are assigned to the current user using it. We'll use the publish filter method. And then this is where you add in your table name and then your filter that you want. And hopefully I typed this all correctly. We can go ahead and submit. And so now I'll take you back to the dashboard, and now we can go ahead and start adding the things we just created. So first we can go and add the 2 reports that I just created. I'll stick this one up here, and then we can go and add that reference field that I created. And this is all, you know, shape and size and move to wherever you'd like. And then for the custom one that I created, it's going to be under content block. And what did I just, we called it test. Well, at least the buttons are rendering correctly. So that's a good sign. So now that we have these on your dashboard, you're going to want to set your reports to be able to follow them. So you can go, while you have the plus icon opened, you can modify everything on the dashboard. So you'd go into your gear and have follow interactive filter selected. And then you can also select show when following filter. So this will show if that report is following a filter or not. And then for this pie chart, since it's one of the types of reports that can act as an interactive filter, you have that option as act as an interactive filter. And you can also have it follow other interactive filters as well. So first we can take a look at this reference field that we created. So say I only want to see the business service, problems with business service as BlackBerry. So now I can see this pie chart was filtered to only show the 3 BlackBerry problems, as well as the list records are only showing the problems with the business service being BlackBerry. We can go back and see all, and then we can also hit only mine. So now there's only one that is assigned to me currently, the system admin. And if we hit remove filter, it's going to hide that. And then now that this pie chart is also could potentially act as an interactive filter, you could select that slice. So it's going to show only the ones that were PeopleSoft Enterprise. Now it's going to show filter this list to only show that single record. And then also right here, this icon, this filter. So that means it's following a filter. So that's that option to show when filtering. If you didn't have that selected, that filter isn't going to show anymore. So now I also have a dashboard showing the different standard out-of-box filters that you can create, just to see how you could kind of take a look at them. So this one is a cascading filter. So you'd have to select the manager first before you can see what apply which groups to only show. So if you only wanted to see the ones where the manager is this person, and then it's only going to limit the groups to show which ones he's a part of. Then you can see now the assignment group is showing as network versus Don. He's the manager of 2 groups. Those were filtering on the new state. So we can go ahead and apply. So here we go. Now we have the different states because showing for all versus the specific one that you wanted. And it had the defaults set as new. So that's one of the things with the defaults. You're going to want to be careful with that. And then also just, you know, if you selected this, the next time you're going to come back, it's going to be on this state choice filter already. So you're going to want to come in here and hit that reset filter. It does bring it back to that default value that we had specified in that filter. But everything else, if it didn't have a default filter, it's going to reset. And then that reset filter is the one I was talking about, where that only applies to the standard out-of-box filters. It's not going to reset your custom ones. So you'd have to say refresh your page or create your own button to clear all of the custom ones that you have created. So you also have this group by filter. So this is the one where you can filter on different fields, but only show it in a single widget. So if you want incident opened in the last 3 months and the priority is planning, you can apply that. It's not as intuitive to potentially know which options you're going for, but you can do it. So you have also open by. So this is going to be a date field. It is limited, the out-of-box one, so you can't select specific days or ranges of days, but you get the general options of ranges that you can select. So in the last 6 months, you had these. And then you can filter on, well, that one doesn't work. Oh, these are all new. But so if you had the category as help and inquiry, you can go ahead and apply that. This is also a multi-select, so it's going to be an either or. So if the category is help and inquiry or hardware, it's going to show all of the records that match. Apparently there's not many different categories. Oh, but I also have new state. Gotta remember that. So network, database, and help and inquiry. So it's an or within itself. And then same thing, just another field where you can select the different options. So each one between them are ands, but within themselves, if they're a multi-select, they're going to be ors. Then I also created a bunch of custom filters that you don't have available. So this was just another similar one, the 2 assigned or to only me or all tasks. You also have a string field. So I have it set to look at the short description. So I can hit search. So now it's going to have anything that contains tests. So I made this one to just basically be a wildcard search for the input. And I also have a clear that will filter that out. We also have some list fields that you don't have the ability to create standard out-of-box. So I created different types. So this one is showing a list field with values with just users starting with F. And this is, I believe, looking at the work notes list field. So you can go ahead and see the ones where Fred is in that list field. This same thing is going to be an or situation. So show all the records where Fred or Frankie are in. So as you can see, work notes list is dynamic to these two SysID users. So I have it clear button, or if there's no checkboxes at all selected, it clears that filter. I also have same thing list field, but instead of it being checkboxes, it's kind of your standard list field where this is looking at the watch list. So we're going to select a few different people. There's probably not a lot because I didn't add a lot. But this, so right now it's checking for all the records where the watch list contains either Abel, Abraham, and you can see same thing, watch list has any of these values in itself. And then this date custom field filter that I didn't create it. I found this on the community. I did modify it slightly, but this gives you your more standard options to filter on the date. So if I want ones that were opened today, I can actually specify that. Or if I want between certain days. So we can go ahead and select between, you know, for the last month, and it's going to show that the ones created within this date range. So it gives you the more options for date filtering. And so actually I'll also show you some of the code behind these. So you can get as complex or simple as you need to be. So this one is actually using some jelly to go through and build it. So right now you have your just standard Glide record query and pushing all of the user records into an array. So this is querying for all the users that start with the letter F for their name. And it's pushing all of the objects into an array. And then below we have it looping through that array and creating checkboxes for each of those options in the array. And then you have different scripts to set the different filters for whatever options that you selected. And then you can put some styling in there as well. And then, so this was, again, with the dynamic content, but the one that I found on the community, that date one, it actually used a widget and a macro. So an interesting thing for this was they created a widget where you could select a bunch of different tables that it would apply to, and then it's rendering the macro. And then in the macro, it's doing all of the code to figure out what that filter would be. So you have, these are all of the options in that choice list. And then you have, these are all of the filter types that correspond with your choices. And again, this thing is massive. So you can go pretty deep into the functionality that you may need. And then, so an interesting thing, the way they built that is when you come and add that specific widget, it's actually going to be under the widget name that was created. So I created it as a custom interactive filter dates. And these are the three options that I selected in that widget. So you have the open date chain for change, incident, and problem. And then you could go ahead and just add each individual one to your dashboard. There's a lot of different things that you can definitely create with these filters, and could potentially help you out with a lot of different things.